This is the world. Well, you look at the world. It's a beautiful day here, except for the 105-degree heat. That's a bit oppressive, shall we say. But that's okay. We got an air-conditioned car. I hang out at the air-conditioned mall. And I think I can muster up 1 or 2 more days of 100-plus degrees before it slides back into the balmy 90s for the rest of the 10 days that are on the weather indicator. Anywho, so let's tell you about me, the early years. I was born in a place called Merrick, New York, is where my family was living. My mom and dad were living when I was born. I'm the first child and favorite child of Ken and Harriet Merrick, formerly Harriet Keimer. Mom and dad both had masters in elementary education. They were both working as principals when they got married in New Jersey. And my dad had worked in Washington, D.C. at a private school before he had the opportunity to become assistant principal in Merrick, New York. So they packed up and they went up there, and I was born. It was the 8th day. God looked at the world and said, I need a nutcase to scare everybody into behaving. So I'm going to create this baby, the Ken and Harriet Merrick, because they're elementary school principals and they can handle anything. So they'll even be able to handle this strange dude I'm going to give them as a son. Hence, I was born. Lived my first 4 years in Merrick, New York. Halfway through those 4 years, I was blessed with a baby sister, Elizabeth Ann, but known as Tish. And got the name because in Market, somebody said this adorable little girl when she was about 2. What's your name? And she said, Tuna Fish. No idea exactly where. I think somebody used to call her Lizzie Tish with Tuna Fish. So rather than call her Fish, we called her Tish. And the name stuck throughout her entire life. Can't believe my baby sister is now 70? No, 69. Not 70 yet. And she looks good. And her husband, Mark, who is just the nicest guy you'll ever want to meet. Hard worker, industrious, generous. Never heard him say anything nasty about anything, like my dad. So, anyways, luckily they have a good lifestyle. He's been a very successful businessman, and very successful school teacher. I think she has a master's in elementary ed too. But she raised 3 kids while Mark was creating and building a business. And her 3 kids are, my nieces and my nephew are unbelievably nice. They're good people. They got good heads on their shoulders. Do they push the limits sometimes? I think so. But, if you're smart and you're good, you ought to push the limit. That's where progress is made. That's where good things happen. So anyway, those 4 years, and then we moved to Buffalo, New York, because my dad got the opportunity to be a principal. He got a brand new school that was built, and he was its first and only principal for how many years? see, I moved there when I was 5, and I think he retired when I was, did I say 25, 26, 27? Over 20 years. He was principal of Forest Elementary in Williamsville, New York. And really good at his job. Teachers loved him, kids loved him, but over the years, the job went from taking care of the teachers and kids and parents to pushing a pencil, filling out paperwork, all the ridiculous crap that society changes to. And he got tired of it. He missed the kids, he missed the interaction. But luckily he had me, and that was more than interesting enough. I was never much into school. I won't say I wasn't good at it. I don't think I had anything but an A for a grade up through 5th grade, I'll say. And then I was going to his school for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And of course I was like the favored child of the entire school. Everybody knew me, and I was famous, and everybody was my friend, and I think all the little girls had crushes on me. And I was really shy, but at any rate, at that juncture, we bought a house and moved to Snyder, which is the next community over, suburb over, really just like 2 miles away from where we were living before, 3 miles away. And I moved into a school district that was had a lot more emphasis on money, on social, and of course starting in 6th grade at elementary school and then switching to junior high, it was change and reestablishing myself in the community, and I didn't really get the social aspect because my other school had been my dad's school had been academics and sports, and this one wasn't. It was totally social. And so as a result of that, I did not do well. I didn't want to be in that school. I didn't want to go to that school. I didn't want to go to the junior high school, which was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. As a matter of fact, when I was in 7th grade, there was another kid named Brent James. Lost track of him. We weren't close anyways, but we were in the same unified group that traveled around to junior high school, from science to social studies to math to everything but electives, basically. And apparently Brent James was not in school either. And our subgroup was 713. I think they retired that number at the end of that year because they didn't want to see another 713. They just went 7 up through 12 and then skipped to 14, 15. Anyways, along about second month of school, one day one of our teachers, and Mr. Teniglio, commented, he said, he's taking attendance, said, wait a second, we've got David, Merrick, and Brent James in class at the same time. He said it's like the 50th day of school. This is the first time that's happened. Congratulations, gentlemen. And of course, I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was because we never came to school. So that gives you an idea. So I made it through high school. I got a high school diploma. I got a New York State Regents diploma. I have no idea how. Maybe they just give them to you if you don't cause too much trouble. And I wasn't a troublemaker, but anyways, we lived in Snyder, New York, until I got married and moved to Ohio with my first wife, Marjorie, and she was president of a women's clothing chain at the time. When I first met her, she was regional director for the Limited, and she was getting divorced, and she got divorced, and I was living with one of her store managers, and she and I met in the men's room of a upscale restaurant. I went to meet her with my, at the time, girlfriend, and my girlfriend asked whether I'd go find her boss, and I said, well, where is she? And she said, well, she's in the men's room. And I said, I'll be able to find her, no problem. And I found that she was trying to lie, but I did drag her ass out of there and kept her from getting in more trouble than she was. And the funny thing was, I had met her twice in the community years before. The first time that I met her, I was skipping school and went down to a place called Kissing Bridge, which was a local ski resort. Not really big hills, but it was fun, and enough moguls. It was challenging. I was a good skier, not a great skier, and so I was on the slopes, and it was a weekday, so there wasn't a lot of other activity in the mornings, and I spotted this girl, and she was really cute. It looked maybe a little older. It looked like a college girl or something. I didn't know she graduated from high school when she was 14 and graduated from college when she was 18. And I'm sure was working by then. But I kind of chased her around the slopes, kind of pair up with her on a chairlift, but never quite caught up with her. And that was my first encounter. And about a year and a half later, I was at an intersection in a pretty good snowstorm in Buffalo, and there was a orange Carmen Ghia that was stalled or stuck. I can't remember which, but anyway, it was stalled. And so I got out of, pulled my car over to the side of the road. Buffalo people, when the weather's bad, everybody sort of rallies for each other. I got out of the car, and somebody else, a couple other guys got out of their cars, and there was the same girl, and she was sitting in this Carmen Ghia, and it was late afternoon, and she was drunk. I mean, she was major drunk. And said, what's wrong? She says, it's stalled, and it was a stick shift. And I said, how about if we tried to bump start you? And she knew what I meant. And so we bump started her, got her going, and she was off. And that was the last I saw of her until our encounter in the men's room of the upscale restaurant. And I sort of thought it was her both times. And of course, when I met her in the restaurant, I knew who she was. And being drunk in the middle of the afternoon, yeah, that was archetypical for her. She had a problem with drinking. She had no problem drinking, she just had a problem with drinking. So, anywho, lived in Buffalo till I married her. We went to Columbus, Ohio, and I took up racing. I'd been an owner of racehorses in Buffalo, standard bred racehorses, the ones with little carts. And when we got to Columbus, I wanted to get into horse racing, but she didn't really want me to do that because she knew there were a lot of girls at the track in that world, and she didn't really want to have to worry about me fooling around on her. So I took a job as a convenience store manager and gas station manager for a while, and then I switched over, got a part-time job at Taco Bell when she had emergency surgery and for a tubular pregnancy, nearly died. And so when she came out of that, I switched over to full-time working for this Taco Bell franchise. And for 7 years, I worked my ass off for him. And good guy, paid me good, but it was a lot of work, not easy. And so I really kind of hurt myself, my legs and my feet. I was on my feet easily 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I worked more hours than that for him too. Basically took over and ran the place for him, and he just kind of let me do it because I was doing a good job. And finally I sat my first wife and my Taco Bell owner down and said, you both have 90 days to replace me because I'm getting divorced from you. I want a divorce from you, and I'm quitting this thing because it's going to kill me if I keep doing it. And that's a good place to cut it. I'm at the mall. I'm ready to go to work. I'll continue with my life story. Let's see. I left off quitting my job and getting divorced on 4th of July. Let's say 1990. I don't know, 1995, let's say. Okay, bye-bye.